Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the inaugural episode of Sammy Slaughterhouse, presented by KocoSports, of course. I'm Sammy Synister, your host. Thank you for joining me tonight. Everyone else is asleep and old, so it's just me and you guys. I'm flying solo, so if I fuck this up, it's because I have no idea what the fuck I'm doing. So just bear with me. We've got a lot to go through tonight. Of course, we're covering NXT Takeover Brooklyn 2, which I really, really hate that they put a 2 in front of it. I think that's stupid. It's not SummerSlam Barclays Center Part 2, but we're just nitpicking here. Of course, as we do at the start of every show, let us know in the comment section what you think, win, loss, or tie, and why you thought as such. I'm going to let you know my opinions here. And while you're over there, go ahead and throw a couple questions in the comment section. At the end of the show here, I'll go through a couple of those. So, to start things off, I'll let you know, for me, this is a big win. I absolutely love this. It was not as good as last year, so let's go ahead and throw that out there. This takeover just didn't have that magic that last Brooklyn had, and that's completely okay. That is 100% acceptable, because last year was something insanely special. It was magic in a bottle, and no promotion that I know of will ever be able to replicate the feeling that Takeover Brooklyn had last year, but they got damn close this year. And let me tell you, some really, really good stuff. I thoroughly enjoyed myself. I'm going to be nitpicky because that's the point of a review show. You got to be a little nitpicky, but I did have a really, really good time. So start things off tonight. The first match of the night was No Hey Jose versus Austin Aries, and I'm going to be completely honest with you, Infantry. I was a little more surprised by this match than I thought I was going to be. It was a lot better than I had hopes for. I thought this was going to be a stinker. I really, really did. I thought Austin Aries, who again is the cardboard cutout of a wrestler, I'm sure he's talented. There's just nothing there. He's just boring. Was just going to go up against this new kid who ain't got a lot to him and a terrible gimmick. Just like 1, 2, 3, okay, we're done. No, I was really surprised by this. Freaking No Way Jose had some really good comebacks. He's got a lot to work on. Still pretty green. His facials are really good. He sells really, really good. And he was really good at getting his comebacks to get the crowd back into him, but the crowd just was not into him. They were all for Austin Aries, and I think that's what's going to kill him in the end. He's going to have to find a different gimmick and use that gimmick combined with his, I'm going to say, natural ability to get the crowd behind him and get that pump-up feeling for his comeback. And this guy might be able to go places. Genuinely, I think No Way Jose was the better man coming out of this match. Nothing super spectacular here, just some pretty good wrestling. Now, in the end, Austin Aries does come out with the victory. He gets No Way Jose to tap out, whatever the hell his stupid submission thing's called. It's got a terrible, terrible name. But he gets on top of that. He gets the pin, or he gets the fall, and match is over, and then he decides he's going to attack him again. He's going to go after No Way Jose because reasons, whatever. So he goes and puts him in the submission again. Then Kenta's music hits. And I just wasn't excited as I should have been. I guess I kind of saw it coming, I guess. But it's so cool to see Kenta. Kenta came out there. Excuse me, Hideo Itami. I get 1 internet point reducted from me. So Hideo Itami comes out there, kind of gives him the what for, beats the hell out of him. And if I am not mistaken, and I could be wrong on this, gentlemen, correct me if I'm wrong, this is the first time we've seen Hideo Itami do the go to sleep on TV. I've seen him do it before, like some videos from some house shows and stuff, but I'm fairly certain this is the first time he's done it on NXT TV. So that was cool to see. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm fairly certain I'm correct on that point. Now, coming out of this match, again, Austin Aries is just a cardboard cutout. He's like, literally, when you go into any of the WWE 2K16, 2K15, I'm probably going to be picking up 2K17 here sometime in the next month or whenever it comes out. I'll probably be picking that up. But when you go to create a wrestler, and that blank canvas that it gives you to make a wrestler in the very beginning, that's Austin Aries. There's just nothing to him. He literally, I could call him Mr. Black Trunks, and it would be the exact same. He just doesn't have anything there. Again, really impressed by No Way Jose. He changes things up a little bit and get a better finisher, and I think he could be good. There's a couple thoughts I had about No Way Jose and Almas, seeing Almas coming out of this, is that now that NXT is a touring brand, we always talk about every person that's on the roster from NXT, from top to bottom. The talk is always, when are they going up? When are they going up? When are they going up? And now that NXT really is a touring brand and they have the Performance Center rolling in full steam, I think there are people that can honestly make an entire career out of being NXT if they raise the pay scale a little bit and never have to make it to the full roster, especially if you want to keep your NXT touring brand roster looking good. And I think No Way Jose and Andrade Almas are two of those people that could genuinely stay in NXT forever if they pay them right and be completely content and happy there. Again, some changes to some gimmicks here and there, a little more promo time, and those kids could both be really good. I see a future for both of them, but No Way Jose is going to get destroyed if he goes to the main roster right now. It's got to go over like a fart in church. Almas, we'll get to that in just a minute, but I think they could stay in NXT and have really good, long careers. So after that, the next match we had up was weird. It was Ember Moon versus Billie Kay, and for some reason they changed Billie Kay's music again. I'm not really sure the idea behind that. Anyway, so this is the debut of Ember Moon, which I've been kind of so-so about. I'm always happy to see new female wrestlers, and she got some pretty good vignettes coming out of this. She still looks exactly like a Mortal Kombat character. Maybe that's what they were going for. Maybe not. I don't really know. Anyway, not a whole lot to say about this match. I was pretty underwhelmed, if I'm being completely honest with you. There was a couple spots, but it just didn't really. It was short, really short. I didn't get to time it, unfortunately. There wasn't a whole lot to go off here. This was literally just a squash debut match for Ember Moon, which I think they could have picked somebody else besides Billie Kay, because Billie Kay I actually thinks pretty good as well. A couple things that I got away from this. Ember Moon has a pretty badass finisher. I really like that, like, twisting off the top rope stunner. It's cool as shit looking. I dig it a lot. Maybe she can change that up some, and maybe if she gets to do some more aerial stuff, I'll be impressed. I mean, she had fine sound fundamentals, but I just wasn't blown away. Something little she did that once I noticed it pissed me off. I'm not going to that. Didn't piss me off to no end. It just got on my goddamn nerves. Is everything that Ember Moon did, she got this tiny little like yelpy squeal every time she did something. And after I noticed it, it's the only thing I could hear that drove me up the wall. So she has got to cut that bullshit out. But she looks good. In the end, Ember Moon gets the 1, 2, 3 off whatever the hell they're going to call her finisher now. A fucking Mortal Kombat bomb. I don't know. Billie Kay didn't look any worse for the wear, but I mean, this match was completely unforgettable. This is your popcorn match of the night. So next up after that, we had Andrea Almas versus Bobby Roode. Bobby Roode has the worst music in wrestling. It's horrendous. It makes my ears bleed. It hurts me. It causes me pain. I'm pretty sure that my cat over there doesn't like it either, and she's being an asshole right now, and I cannot get enough of it. I fucking love it. It's so goddamn stupid, and I love it. I just fucking love it. I just gotta get, oh, god damn it. Anyway, so Bobby Roode has the most overly long fucking heel, I'm the center of the world entrance that I've seen in a long time, and it totally fucking works. It's awesome. And of course, he's not healing this match, but he's getting cheered. Almost comes out, and of course, he gets booed. Which this is a big problem they've had on the main roster for a long time. So WWE really needs to work on keeping the problem they have in the main roster separated from the problem in NXT, because people are cheering their heels, but they're not cheering for them because they're cooler than their baby faces like they're on the main roster. It's chilling for them simply because of who they are. Just because they're Bobby Roode and just because they are Austin Aries and they have a name, that's the only reason they're getting cheered. There was no other reason for the fans to cheer them in this regard. They're clearly not a babyface. They both got outworked in both of these matches. I just wasn't impressed by either one of the veterans in this match. So anyway, Almas, of course, y'all know I'm a sucker for lucha. That's my absolute favorite style, fucking clearly. So I'm always, every time there's a lucha guy versus somebody that's a non-lucha guy, it just kind of, I'm going to take a drink real quick and completely bring this to a grinding halt. Okay, anytime there's a lucha style or a luchador going against somebody that's classic American, just because of the speed and the techniques that are associated with lucha and just how lucha reacts to the crowd as compared to an American style, it makes the American style look boring. And I'm texting my dad through this whole thing because for my dad wanted to watch it and my nieces wanted to watch it. Y'all have heard me talk about my second oldest niece, her alias being Snickerdoodle. She really wanted to watch it because she really wanted to watch Bailey. So we'll get there in just a sec. And it's not that I think lucha is just a better fundamental style than your classic American wrestling. It's just how you pander to the crowd and the techniques associated with getting a response from people and the speed associated with and how you tell a story with the two different styles. They don't mesh very well to me. And when you have, especially a babyface luchador go up against a heel American wrestler or classic American trained wrestler, it doesn't look as good. It makes it look poor. It makes the American wrestler look slow and like he's not enthused. And that's what I told my dad through this. He's like, I really want to impress by Bobby Roode. I'm like, no, Bobby Roode's really good. It's just that Andre is really good. And the techniques associated with both styles do not mesh very well most of the time. So I think Andre just cleared on. After saying that, I think Almas just absolutely outworked and outpaced Bobby Roode at this match. I actually stopped paying attention a couple times to get dinner. And he just looked better than him. It was a good match. Bobby Roode had some really good spots and really got the crowd worked up and is a good heel, but he's getting cheered, which is a problem. So in the end, Bobby Roode hits the glorious bomb, gets the 1, 2, 3. Bobby Roode walks out your victor. Now, right after that was a match that I was really excited about, and it mostly delivered. I was pretty excited about this. The next match they talked about was the tag team match. I got ahead of myself a little bit. So it was the tag team match of the Revival versus who I'm going to call Team DIY, because I'm just not going to say Ciampa and Gargano 3,000 times. For the sake of brevity, Tommaso Ciampa and Johnny Gargano are going to be Team DIY. Do it yourself, I assume, is what that's going to stand for. Versus the Revival. Again, I texted my dad before getting this. He's like, well, what are the Revival? I'm like, well, the Revival they're your classic Ollie and Arn Anderson, work a body part, no flips, just fist, classic style, like Southern style wrestlers. And they didn't really do a lot of that in this match. And this was fantastic. It was clearly one of the better matches of the show. But they didn't do their classic work a body part, no flips, just fist. But what they did do that is classic Ollie and Arn that I really, really enjoyed is they fought dirty tonight. And they always pull out one or two tricks. But man, they fought dirty. They did all kinds of cheap tricks on those poor boys. And which is good, because I was really worried going into it that Ciampa and Gargano were just beat. Excuse me. There I am, got to eat my own words. Team DIY is just beating the shit out of them. They're just out wrestling them. They're quicker. They're faster. They're hitting harder. And I'm like, they're gonna blow them out of the water. But the story they told there is that they had to cheat to beat Team DIY. It ended up being a fantastic match. They had some really good back and forth. Coming out of this, they did cheat one last time. They interfered with one another. Revival attacked the leg of Gargano, and the Revival got the 3 count, so they are still your only 2-time champs in NXT. They retain the tag team champions. What I was surprised of coming out of this is that Ciampa did not attack Gargano. I would almost put money on the fact that Ciampa was going to turn on Gargano. The story is there. It's clearly written, and it's good that they didn't, because I think that leaves more to be desired. And like, okay, so we got to keep watching to see if he does turn on him. But I think it just would have been a little too obvious if they would have done it here. And I fully expected it. And they played it up like they were going to for a while with him helping out of the ring and such. So we're just going to have to keep paying attention to NXT, see if these guys are going to stick around as a tag team, which I think is the best bet for them, because the only other really good tag team in NXT right now is heel, and they're just going to destroy people. That's another story I'm really curious to see, how TIZM48 or whatever the hell those guys are called, how those guys are going to play, and the Authors of Pain, how both of them are going to play into the new tag team story to be told. Like, who's going to chase gold next? Because I don't see a story there. So we're just going to have to pay attention to NXT next week and kind of see where they're going to go. Because, again, the tag team roster is real weak right now in NXT, and I'm just really curious how that's going to turn out. Then you get to your first main event of the evening. We'll call this a double main event at night. And the one that my poor niece was looking to, she was so excited. And Dad, he texted me, the great Tar texted me, let me know that she's excited, and they're all excited. And I told him, like, he's like, Bailey's going to win, right? And I'm like, I'm not so sure, Dad. Like, I'm pretty sure Asuka's going to win, and they're probably going to move Bailey up to the main roster. And he's like, yeah, we'll see. So they both come out. They both have fantastic entrances, and these ladies just knock one out of the park. It was great. There's a couple botch spots, but I'm not going to hold that against them. That happens. It's wrestling. They're human. Botch spots happen. I really hate when there's a botch spot in something and the crowd starts chanting, you fucked up or botchamania. Because that really pisses me off. That's showing disrespect to them as performers. It's trying to hijack the show, and it's going to throw off their groove for the rest of the night. Most of the time. Sometimes they can look past it, but that's not your right to call them out on that. They're humans. They're performing for you. Sometimes you fuck up. This isn't as scripted as people want to think it is. It's highly, highly dangerous. So yeah, stuff happens sometimes. And that happens for every match, and especially in the next match we're going to get to. It's a couple of botch spots. But these ladies put on a hell of a show. And to not pit, just go through every single move that they went through. There were some. Asuka kicked the shit out of Bailey, like harder than I think I've seen her kick other people on the roster thus far. And Bailey fucking put up a valiant fight. She looked vicious. They showed her that she's still an underdog, but she still has a fight in her. And it just, in the end of the day, Asuka got the better of her. She just got those few licks in, got those couple kicks. She retains as your NXT Women's Champion, and Bailey has to walk out the loser. Sometimes, I think I forget exactly how it said. There's a quote from Captain Picard, which my dad would appreciate that as well. So sometimes you can give 100% and still come up empty. And that's exactly what happened here. And it's completely admirable in the story they told. Bailey looked none the weaker coming out of this match. Now, my poor niece, Snickerdoodle, was apparently just inconsolable. She was pissed. He was like, why can't Bailey win? That's not fair. This, that, and another. And I told my dad, I'm like, listen, just tell her there's because I'm taking SmackDown's going to be in my hometown of Birmingham the 20th of the next month. And I told her that I would take her for her birthday. So I'm going to take my niece. And y'all have no idea how excited I am about that. There's a great picture I took of my dad. And I might have told y'all this already. A great picture I took last time I was at my dad's of my dad sitting in a chair with my son, Sammy Synister Jr., and my second oldest niece, Snickerdoodle, and they're all three watching wrestling. And it was like, I took that picture and like, this is why wrestling is important to me. Because when it's good, it's the best form of entertainment you can. And it transcends age and race and any other differences that we as human beings like to see in us sometimes. And I'm getting really deep for a show called Sammy Slaughterhouse and a little more emotional than maybe I should be getting. But that really means a lot to me because that's what wrestling is. And now that my niece has those wrestlers that she can look up to and go, that's who I like, and like, that's who I want to be like. And my son can look up to people and be like, I want to be like that. It melts my heart. It makes me so excited. It makes me that much happier to be a wrestling fan. That being said, I told her that she lost. There's just a much better chance of her being on SmackDown when I take her next month. And apparently that helped a little bit. But I still think she was pretty pissed off. So there's a brief intermission. By the way, going back, I forget exactly in between what matches it was. We get this weird fucking vignette. It's like showing war and peace and atrocities and bad shit and just as insanity at the end. And even fucking Tom and Corey Graves just looking at each other like, I ain't got nothing for you. So I'm sure there's going to be the debut of somebody else, but if you know who that might be, go ahead and let me know in the comments, because I have no fucking clue. Otherwise, it's just going to be somebody that's coming along sometime soon. It reminded me a little too much of Solomon Crow's vignettes, which kind of fell flat. Then we get to the main event of the night. The event the match I was second most excited for all of SummerSlam weekend. Now, I still haven't got to watch Death Before Dishonor from last night. I'm trying to watch that tonight or tomorrow after I might have to try and watch it tonight. I already know what happened, so I'm not going to give you any spoilers here, guys. I'm sure we're going to do a review sometime soon. So just bear with us. If you want to know, go ahead and message me, and I will let you know. But just go fucking watch it. Do yourself a favor, go watch it. I've heard it's incredible. But the main event of the night, the NXT champion Samoa Joe versus the challenger Shinsuke Nakamura. And Shinsuke Nakamura had the most basic addition to make his entrance special tonight, and it was goosebump inducing. It was fucking incredible. The violin just was awesome, and it genuinely gave me goosebumps and made me that much more excited. And, you know, Samoa Joe he walks down the ring, he's like, I'm the most violent, the most terrible, the most horrific, and he's such a good fucking heel. These guys go at it, man, and they put on a fucking war, but I feel like I was a little disappointed in this match. I loved the match. This match was fantastic and hard-hitting, but I just feel like it was missing that one thing to make it that much more special. There was a couple of botched spots that they covered for pretty well. Unless you're a really trained eye, you probably missed them. And it just looks like maybe at 1 or 2 points, both of them weren't giving their all. And maybe they weren't feeling tonight. Sometimes you have just off nights. And the fact that they might have been having an off night and it was still that enjoyable, it says a lot to them as performers. They're so fucking talented. Now, y'all are watching this. Go ahead. Here's the spoiler. You've already heard the other spoilers from the night. If you don't hear this one, you got 3, 2, 1. Shinsuke Nakamura does hit the Kinshasa. Get the 1, 2, 3. Shinsuke Nakamura is your new NXT champion. Now, this raises a lot of questions because going in this match, I genuinely did not know who was going to win. I didn't. I genuinely thought either of them can win. And I was also really torn just because they're both like my top 5 favorite wrestlers right now. So I didn't know who I need to fucking pull for. I don't know why I decided to wear this thing. This thing is so disgustingly uncomfortable, but I love you guys, so I'm going to wear it for y'all. And if it's ever a Sammy Synister Slaughterhouse show, I'm at least going to try and wear this son of a bitch. For you guys. I buy art. Y'all cool with that? Cool. Anyway, so the question is, there's 2 big questions. What's the fate of Samoa Joe? And who's the next challenger for the NXT belt? I think we can all pretty much assume that Samoa Joe is going to get one more chance at the belt, and it's probably going to be a gimmick match in the next takeover because that's kind of been the go-to for the last couple title changes, which is fine. I'm totally all do with that. But after that, does he stay around to be a big heel? Because again, like I said, people can stay in NXT and I think make a complete awesome living and have it be a respectable touring brand. Or does Samoa Joe go up to the main roster? And then if he does go up to the main roster, what show is he on? If I'm going to book it, I have him go after the title one more time, make it a stipulation match, make it a 2 out of 3, make it a fuck lumberjack. Lumberjacks are stupid. I'm not big on cage matches either. So make it like a falls count anywhere, a ladder match, just some type of stipulation. And then have, Nakamura come up clean on that one again, then move him up to the main roster. Samoa Joe, that is. And then I'm putting him on SmackDown. And the reason I'm putting him on SmackDown is I need another great heel to chase a belt, and they need a monster. And Samoa Joe can be a monster, but unlike most monster heels, he can talk. And he can talk very, very well. And so he can feud with Dean Ambrose. He can feud with anybody on the roster, and it'd be great. But it depends on if you bring him up as a heel or a baby face. Because I think depending on how you word it, you could easily bring up Samoa Joe as a babyface, depending on who you wanted him to go against. To say he laid a path of destruction through NXT and he didn't care who he hit. He'd almost do a tweener thing with him because he's going to get a big pop. So I would not bring him up as a heel. I would genuinely probably bring him up as a babyface leaning towards a tweener and have him just kind of cut through the roster and maybe get a shot at the title in 8 months to a year. But that's me. Let me know what you would do in the comments, or if you agree with that or disagree with that, you think I'm an asshole, whatever. So that's it, guys. That's NXT TakeOver. And let me know what you think again down in the comments. Now, I'm going to go through some comments. Y'all let me know what you have to say. I'm going to go through these real quick. Let's see. Andy Paps was at the show tonight, so I'm a jealous fuck. Fuck you, Andy Paps. He says it was incredible. I bet it was. It looked so much fun. Of course, Andy Paps gets it a huge win. I'm going to butcher your name, brother, so just bear with me. Friend Yelly. I'm not even going to bother with your last name. He asked, how are you? I'm doing fantastic. How are you? Let's see. Paps again, because he was there. I'm just going to read this real quick. All the matches were great. Being there live made it so much better. Brooklyn is a wrestling mecca. And it really is. Brooklyn is, just to get into the mood going into this, I listened to No Sleep Till Brooklyn just because it's a fun song. So, because why not? Brooklyn, Philadelphia, Chicago, Dallas are really like some of your wrestling headquarters. And I don't know why that is. But it just really worked out. So Andy Peps also asked what my favorite match was. Even though I picked on a little bit more and they botched and maybe didn't get 100%, I think the main event was probably my favorite match. It was really good. That being said, I am a big fan of Lucha, so I really liked Almas in that match. He got to do some cool Lucha stuff, but I think the main event was my favorite match. It just told a really good story and it was super high impact. Let's see, guys. Bear with me. Talk amongst yourselves. Chauncey Bullock said that's a Sting NXT debut. By all means. Kevin Eric Snell says after NXT went over the ear that Violin had a match versus Francesca and made her submit. I want to know what his submission's called. So go ahead. Let me know. Let me know what the name of the Violin submission is. Where did I get my ask? I love 63 ask. I believe this was a Christmas gift from my mother 2 or 3 years ago. Now, this requires an explanation. My mom is the worst gift giver in all of America. She's a terrible gift giver. She just buys shit. And the only way she knows how to buy gifts from me and my brother nowadays is we have to tell her, this is what I want specifically. Like, this is nothing else. Like this year, I told her I want a subscription to Ancestry.com. Here's how to get to it. Here's the link. This is what I want. Because if we don't tell her to do that, she'll just buy shit like this. She knows me and my brother, clearly, guys, are huge New York Giants fans. Have been since the day I was born. My father was a New York Giants fan. My brother's a New York Giants fan. I'm a New York Giants fan. So she just saw a fucking Lucha mask and went, yeah, he'll like that. I mean, she was right. It's kick-ass. But who the fuck does that? Who does that? My mother does that because she's fucking weird sometimes. Paps also lets me know it's a tough day for our Giants. I have not seen the final score. I'm sure we got fucking obliterated. But keep in mind, it is still the preseason. We got some time to go. Odell Beckham Jr., is not immortal. He's more than a god, but not quite a man. Excuse me. He's not more than a man, not quite a god. So, I mean, I have some hopes for us this year. Ed Ramon gave it an A-. That's cool, Ed Ramon, but we don't do that grading scale here, motherfucker. No, win, loss, or tie, so I'm assuming he's going to give it maybe a weak win or maybe a medium win. I'm going to give it a big win myself. Jeff Hardy go to NXT. I would rather the ghost of Macho Man Randy Savage come back. That was from Chauncey Bullock. I hate Jeff Hardy. I absolutely cannot stand Jeff Hardy. Andy Pap says he's going to be in NXT in the next 2 or 3 years. Brother, you make it to it. Look, let me tell you. You make it to NXT, and I will buy all your merch for me, my son Sammy Synister Jr., my father the Great Tar, and my niece Snickerdoodle. All of us will have all your shit if you make it up there. Go Big Blue, you damn right. Kevin Eric Snell says that he would be angling to get Jay Lethal at this point, and I don't think that's a bad idea. Again, I caught a lot of heat on here when I first showed up because I said I didn't like Jay Lethal, but that's not exactly what I meant. I think Jay Lethal is an absolute fantastic wrestler. He's phenomenal. He's a very, very good wrestler. He's a terrible heel. He's just not a good heel, and I think he needs a mouthpiece. A couple guys that I would genuinely want to get from ROH on Ring of Honor. There's a couple people from Ring of Honor that I would get on NXT. Jay Lethal is definitely one of them. I would probably try and get fuck Bobby Fish, but I would really like to get Kyle O'Reilly. I think he's a fantastic talent as well. The number one person I'd like to see in NXT is Pentagon Jr., but that's never going to happen. Too many of his signature moves are too dangerous for the NXT crowd or for what WWE, I mean, most of them are unallowed. And he doesn't know English, which my way around that is just fucking subtitle him. But, that's the world we live in. Out of everybody out of Lucha Underground that I would pick to go, as I would pick Cage to go on the main roster tonight. He's big, so fucking Vince McMahon can jack off to him, and he can work better than 90% of the other people. So that's a couple of the guys that I would like to see in NXT at this point in time. Let me know who else y'all would like to see. Ed Mohan also says he would really like to see Kenny Omega in NXT. Okay, guys, I love you guys. I've got to take this thing off. I don't expect to see Kenny Omega anytime soon in NXT, especially now that he's going to be in the main event of what the fuck's it called? Wrestle Kingdom. And he's just talented. I think it's somebody, again, I caught a lot of flack for Kenny Omega's one of those guys that I think has all the talent in the world. And everyone's like, he's so great. And he's really fucking good. I cannot stand his gimmick. I hate silly wrestling. Let me rephrase that. I hate silly personas with serious wrestling. And if he kept that gimmick cleaner, which I'm okay with, and he was like, I'm just going to, and make it like a mafia thing, like I'm just going to fucking wear you out, man. I'm just going to kill you. I'm just going to whack you, and that's going to be the end of it. If he makes it more like that going into Wrestle Kingdom, I'll be a lot happier. But I think the world of the guy. I think he's hellaciously talented. Kevin Eric Snell again says Samoa Joe will come to the main roster, and the first thing they do is have him feud with Braun Strowman. I could see it. I wouldn't feud. Well, that would make putting him on Raw, which I think is too loaded of a show right now. But I mean, that's entirely possible. That's where they put him. That's not necessarily who I could see it. That's not necessarily what I would do. But they could probably make it work. I think Braun Strowman's a lot better than people give him credit for. I think he can work really, really well. And he's still learning. And he was on Stone Cold's podcast not too awful long ago, and the kid can talk. He can talk very, very well. They need to let him do that more. And he's just big, which helps. It definitely helps. Let's see. Johnny Oliveira, I've probably fucked that up, said if NXT wants to damage Lucha Underground, they need Dario Cueto. If any organization in the world wants to hurt Lucha Underground and make your thing better, get Dario Cueto. I would vote for Dario Cueto for president. I would fucking make him part of my talent council. I would make him the spokesman for my sub shop. I would make him the guy that holds the sign to attract people to my used tire lot. Dario Cueto's that fucking good. And that it's just anything. It's awesome. Edward Mohan also said, I'd love to see Samoa Joe versus Brock Lesnar. I think that would be awesome too. Because I hate Brock Lesnar and I love Samoa Joe. But especially after that Dean Ambrose, and y'all know how I feel about Dean Ambrose, even though I respect him more after that. After that Dean Ambrose Stone Cold interview where he said he tried to work with him, or he tried to work with Brock Lesnar and he just got wasted. And it was a complete wasted match. I'm afraid that's what's going to happen from every Brock Lesnar match from now to eternity. Let's see, Karen Evick Snell and a couple other people also said they wouldn't mind putting Samoa Joe with Baron Corbin. They've already done that. That was one of the first big feuds Samoa Joe had in NXT. It was all right, and Corbin's got a little better since then. I don't think I'd like to see it right away, but they need to move forward. Edward Mohan also says Brock don't give a shit, and he doesn't, and that's part of the problem. People always be like, oh, he's a great heel, and it's like he's just a classic heel because he makes matches boring. I was like, there's a difference. Ric Flair was a great heel, but Ric Flair knew how to make his opponent look great. Brock Lesnar only knows how to do one match nowadays. He can do one match, and if you aren't going to do that match, he's not going to give you shit. And that's a bad professional wrestler. That means you're not good at your job. If I was really, really good at my job, it's stocking stuff on the shelves, but I was really shitty at the cash register, but I had to do both, then I'm not good at my job. That's just how I feel, but I do not like Brock Lesnar. Really, guys, that seems to be the only questions. I'm probably going to go ahead and call it a night, guys. Again, thank you for joining me here on the inaugural episode of Sammy Synister Slaughterhouse. Any other questions you have, go ahead and put them down in the comments below. I'll answer those on the next show. or hit me up at prowrestling.me. I'm at Sammy Synister there. Send me some messages there, or hit us up on Twitter. I'll be happy to ask them there. I am on Twitter now. Fucking, I know what happened. I don't remember my fucking Twitter handle right now. I'll get that to you sometime in the future. Go ahead and hit me up on there as well. Check about whatever you want. We can talk about football, talk about wrestling, talk about hockey. I picked up NHL 16 not too long ago, so I've been playing the shit out of some hockey, playing as the New Jersey Devils. That's what I like to do. Other than that, guys, that's all I got for the night. Peace, love, and hugs, boys and ghouls. Y'all have a good night. This is Sammy Synister. I fucked that up, didn't I? Yeah. Calling it a night. I'll take care.